Mr. Deb Mukherji, Managing Director, Omega Seiki Mobility. He is, upon finishing Masters in Technology from IIT-Delhi, received his PhD from Jamia Millia Islamia. He uses a data-driven approach in working towards India's switch to electric, a firm advocate of Make in India. His guidance has been instrumental in the birth of Rage Plus and Rage Plus Frost, Omega Seiki's indigenous developed electric three-wheeler cargo vehicles. Running on clean energy, a regular speaker at industry events, Deb believes in enhancing industry competitiveness by using technological innovations, paving the way to Industry 4.0. He has also played a key role in setting up several greenfield facilities around the world. Today, Dr. Deb Mukherji will walk us through automation in auto industry supply chain, ICE and EV, opportunity and challenges of automation in Indian Industry 4.0, integration of various technologies. So delegates, let's welcome Mr. Deb.
So let's talk about the topic automation and how it is relevant and the part it plays in the automotive industry, which is the industry I have worked in, and I understand a little bit of this industry. So auto industry is at the center of this logistics solution industry, generally speaking. Humans need to move, we have to move ourselves, or we have to move goods, and various kinds of logistical movements, etc. has to happen. That is the basic need. And the ease of this movement signifies the level of competitiveness or level of growth or progress of any country. Generally speaking, automotive industry can be seen as a barometer of progress of economy. That's how it has been seen. As far as India is concerned, Indian automotive industry is fairly large. It is a fairly mature industry. Post the advent of Maruti Suzuki, of course, which brought in the Japanese technology, and then several others came subsequently, but Maruti continues to command something like close to 50% of the market share. So the whole auto industry is a very material intensive industry. First of all, huge amount of materials move from one end of the country to another. For example, lots and lots of materials come from Chennai and around places where suppliers are located to Delhi NCR, Gurgaon, Manesar, etc., which is a hub of Maruti Suzuki, and so on and so forth. Materials move from Delhi back to Chennai and Pune, etc. So this is a very, very material intensive supply chain, which needs to be work seamlessly, hour after hour, day after day. Now let's see how the automation plays a role here. And robotics is a part of automation. Generally when we think in the context of industry, we talk about automation, our mind goes to robotics. So I would like to dispel that thought that automation is a combination of several technologies and hardware, and robotics is one of them. Unfortunately, in India, the level of robotics is fairly low. When I started 35 years ago, and we were interacting with Suzuki Japan, and we used to see the robots, Yasukawa, Motoman, etc., various brands working. And unfortunately, even my generation has passed, and I don't see the progress of robotics much, from that time. So 35 years is a long time. It's already one generation has gone. But now, something happened last year, as we know, COVID, which disrupted the supply chains everywhere. And it was a non-textbook case. Nowhere in the world, how to deal with COVID was taught in any MBA or any, leadership development, management development courses. So then it impacted every industry, including automotive. Automotive, because as I said, it is a highly material intensive industry. and material movement got restricted. So that is where the whole digitization of the whole supply chain is being talked about now. A survey by McKinsey last year in May shows that 93% of the leadership across the industries think that they will have to revamp their supply chain. 93%. So everybody is thinking about how to hedge the risk of material movement, something coming from China, something has to come from Europe, etc. Particularly in the context of India, I'm talking about. And now we have chip shortages, semiconductor shortages. Also, the shipping is becoming a problem because of non-availability of containers, etc. So these are the new age disruptions that we are seeing in the supply chain. Now, let's see how what to do. The point to be debated is how to take care of these unforeseen challenges in the supply chain. So I feel that technology has to play a very large role today. We have the solutions of data analytics, AI, IoT, predictive modeling, and cognitive decision making, wherein you can predict what can go wrong if something goes wrong in any part of the whole supply chain. So these are the technologies which are available today. Very high level of data analytics is available, where the shortages or disruptions in the supply chain can be predicted. Now coming to the auto industry domain, I think the automation has to work across this entire supply chain, and not just the manufacturing side or the production side, where basically the robots in material handling or operations like welding or painting or gluing, etc., have been traditionally been used. So let's start with the planning process, then planning, R&D, product development, getting the customer input, getting the marketing inputs, etc. This is where the entire digitization of supply chain has to happen, and automation is part of it. It is like an integral part of this supply chain. And then manufacturing is just one part, where largely the robotics come into play. This is what I think the whole the framework of automation has to be seen in a much larger way, not just the manufacturing, or not just putting few robots here and there and making it humanless operation. So I think that is where the change is happening. And the new age supply chains, we will see inducting automation in a way that you could have predictive decision making based off high amount of data that is available today. Cloud computing, for example, ensures seamless availability and computing of data, and then decision making. So this is where I think the automation has to play a very large role. Then comes the marketing, sales, after sale maintenance, spare parts, etc., which are again very important part of the automotive supply chain. Then lastly, which is generally forgotten in our context, is the end of the life treatment. Now government has recently announced a scrappage policy, as we know. Now the entire vehicle can be tracked from its birth, from the date it leaves the factory to the end of the life, and how it can be recycled, the materials can be reclaimed and fed back into the system to make it a circular sort of supply chain. So this is where in this whole supply chain, right from conception of the product to product development, manufacturing, marketing, sales, and end of the life, is the full circular chain where automation has to be deployed. And the technologies which are available are on the hardware side. We have sensors, we have GPS, we have robotics, then we have virtual reality and augmented reality. This is something that has not been used much in the auto domain, and I fail to understand why. Virtual reality and augmented reality is such a powerful technology that empowers you to get inside the system, become a part of the whole system. and do that in a seamless way. So then on the software side, we have the camera, then we have radar, lidar, etc. So this is where all these the hardware and the software comes together, and then we have to design that automation appropriately for our use. Just blindly putting 200 robots in the shop floor, it means nothing. That's not an intelligent way of doing things. So this is where I think the Indian industry has to get used to this whole idea of designing the automation specific to specific to our use, and then we it increases the reliability, the quality of your product, and also the the way of your working in the global stage. Now coming to the you see, we are seeing a very large disruption in the industry, in the context of automotive industry. As we all know, electric vehicle, EV is the single most biggest disruption being talked about across the world today, including India. Now, this is something that is happening. Automobile have been in place for last more than 100 years, and this is after that we are talking about a complete disruption of the IC engine and moving to something which is electric motor and powertrain driven. Now, this is a chance where Indian industry can become a very significant player in the global industry, something that IC engine industry did not do or could not do. There are various reasons and debatable reasons why Indian industry today has less than 1% of the global automotive share. Even though we are the fourth largest car maker, we are the largest two-wheeler maker, we are the largest tractor maker in the world, still, in terms of exports, the share is very, very minimal. I think this can change, with the coming in of electric vehicle technologies, wherein we have the electric powertrain consisting of motor, the batteries, the controller, and this electronics and the software, which is very much our strength. India is a superpower in the so-called superpower in the IT domain. So and today modern cars have more than 100 millions of lines of code written in it. See, imagine the amount of business opportunity that is available. So what I'm saying is that automation or robotics should not be seen as in isolation. We have to see this as a integral part of designing our vehicle, designing our product, and designing our business as a whole. This is where the change should come. I'm not an expert of any other industry, but in the context of auto industry, I can say that this could be a very significant opportunity for India. Globally, the auto industry is valued something like $8 trillion. See, the amount of EV components exports, the experts are predicting to be somewhere around more than 500 billion in next 2 to 3 years. This is where the opportunity lies for the industry. However, the reliability, quality, ability to adhere to the timelines, commitments, and ship out 100% right products day after day, every time, is the key to be successful at a global platform, because you get only one chance, at the global platform. And I think the whole designing of the automation will play a major role. What kind of hardware you want to put in your manufacturing system, what kind of software you want to employ, what is the skill level of people, how to improve the skill level to match up with the global expectations. I think this is where I would end by saying that this is a huge opportunity, but we need to understand the whole automation in the complete context, complete supply chain of the industry. And automotive could be a major use case where this should be conducted. Even working with academia and institutions like IIT and others, they are doing phenomenal job in particularly I know in electric vehicles. They have started some courses on motor design, motor efficiencies, etc. And I think that knowledge should be transferred to the industry, and industry needs to then figure out what is best for them, and how to make maximum use of of it and become a very globally competitive industry. So thank you so much for the opportunity given to me. Thank you.